Hey people of the PDPL or whoever you may be. This is Sakamoto 24 here. I participated in the first season of the Pokemon Draft Premier League. That's the PDPL. Very intense league. A lot of fun. I definitely want to come back. It was a lot of fun competing. Very very high competition, high level competition, and we had a pretty decent season. We barely weren't able to squeak into the playoffs, which was sad, obviously, because I wanted to keep playing with this team. But I figured just to kind of put some fun content out there, I would do one of these sort of season recap, team analysis type of videos. Um, so yeah, I thought I'd just go through my team, go through some of the combos that I wanted either used or wanted to use, like some of the strengths, weaknesses of the team. Just I don't know, just kind of analyze the team and talk about it because I really like this team, and like I said, I'm sad I don't get to keep using it because it had a lot of Pokemon that I really enjoy using, and I was very excited to draft this team. It was a fun idea, I think. So I guess I'll just hop into it. My team, all 12 Pokemon on my team were in the top, they're in the top right hand corner. I tried to draft a team that is deeper as opposed to one that was more top heavy. Um, and originally I wanted to draft Tyranitar, Articuno, and Gorgeist, but Gorgeist got taken very early, so I wasn't able to draft that, and I was a little bit sad. But I got to get some other mons to kind of replace the what I wanted to use Gorgeist for, and it ended up working out pretty well. Um, I think I definitely could have played this team better. I don't know that I knew how to play this team perfectly by any means, but it was a good learning experience. So I guess I can just go through each mon sort of individually and talk about maybe why I drafted them on and synergy and talk about strengths, weaknesses, all that stuff. So I guess I'll talk about Tyranitar because he was sort of the team captain, I guess. It's my first pick in the draft. Tyranitar, obviously, 4 times weak to fighting, has a lot of other weaknesses. Is sometimes a hard mon to use in draft, but I really wanted to try it out, and I think it has some good elements to it, like the sand, obviously, can enable other strategies, and it gives it a nice special defense boost. So, and it breaks sashes. I think it can be really useful. I also think Tyranitar is pretty good in max format, just because even though it's 4 times weak to fighting, it's very bulky, and you can give it like weakness policy, and it's just really hard to. It's just hard to deal with. Just not the type of mon you can completely ignore. It can do a lot of damage. So, and there were a lot of different sets I wanted to run with this thing, but what I found most successful was just running Sash, because I figured my opponents would have a plan for Dynamax T-Tar strategies, and even though I think it could be good, and it is good, I found more success just running Sash, saying, go ahead, close combat me, I'll just take a hit, eat it up with Sash, I won't die to Sand because I'm obviously T-Tar and I'm a Rock, and I can at least get off a Crunch or Rock Slide or something. So, and it was really just there to set the Sand a lot of the time too, so yeah, I thought it'd be a fun mon to try. And then like other leagues I'm in, my logo is like my team name is the Tyranitar Sausage. So I wanted to kind of use the my logo mon or my mascot. So I thought it'd be fun to try. I thought it would have really really good type synergy. Well, let me just talk about Tyranitar just by itself first. Obviously, it has insane stats. And what's nice is if you ran Scarf, it would outspeed, I think, what base? Yeah, it outspeeds base 100s for sure. I think it outspeeds base 110s. Almost 115s. Yeah, I think it outspeeds almost, like, maybe even 115s with the Scarf. Maybe not quite that, but it's pretty good with the Scarf. And then, I mean, you guys know what T-Tar does, obviously. I don't know. I don't have to go into too much detail. But, like, what I loved about it also is it had a ton of coverage. So like, I don't know, in draft I think that's a big advantage because there's no meta, there's no expecting this move or that move. Like I could run special T-Tar, I could run physical, I could run all sorts of crap. So, and it also has Dragon Dance and Curse for multiple types of setups. I don't know. you guys know what T-Tar does. But what sort of made me confident in drafting it is the other mons that I planned on drafting with it, and the other main one was Articuno. Articuno is like a perfect fit because with T-Tar because competitive deterred intimidate, which obviously makes it difficult to use a T-Tar in the face of. It also was a 4 times resist to fighting, so it was an easy ally switcher or switch in for T-Tar. Really good. Is also switch in for ground types moves, and then or grass type moves, and then at the same time, T-Tar functioned as a ghost and dark switch in for Articuno, so it's kind of nice. Their synergy together was, I thought, insanely good, and I would honestly draft it again. Although I'm always trying to draft the new stuff that I haven't played before. But Articuno was like fantastic because, I mean, it's so powerful, and honestly, I rarely ever ran something like this. I rarely ran 252 in these stats, and just went straight offense. I usually ran like a bulkier variant with like weakness policy or life orb or I don't know, like a resist berry, and just kind of relied on competitive to put on pressure and give me an offensive boost. But that worked out really nicely because, I mean, if you start airstreaming, especially next to one of the other offensive mons on my team, it can get really scary. So your opponent kind of has to deal with it. And it can just be really annoying. There were some weird sets I wanted to run with Articuno. Like you could run, obviously it has Tailwind and Trick Room and that stuff, but I also wanted to run like Flame Orb with Psycho Shift. I think it gets Psycho Shift. Yeah, it does. So I want to run like Flame Orb with Psycho Shift and like burn my opponents and do weird crap like that. I also really like that it has Calm Mind and Recover. Like I wanted to do some strategies where I'd have like Intimidate Stalin next to Calm Mind Articuno and just have like a bulky sort of end game plan, which is like hard to set up, obviously, but I mean it can work. Weakness policy Articuno is something I never really utilized. I have Dust Snore that could Shadow Sneak it, but I never did that. I probably should have, to be honest. Articuno was fantastic on my team. I kind of want to check my stats and see how good it did. Maybe I'll do that later in the video. But yeah, Articuno is insane. I mean, it doesn't have the greatest coverage, but I just really like the typing, the ability, the stats. Like, it was just so good next to Tyranitar. So, I mean, obviously, it probably makes sense. Probably don't have to expand on that much further. So these two are really good together. Lots of offense. Tailwind, Trick Room. Next to T-Tar. Another reason I wanted to get T-Tar is because the Sand Rush users I planned on drafting, and I did draft, were Pokemon that I really wanted to try and Pokemon that I really like. Stalin was the first one. Stalin's insane, dude. I mean, if you don't know what this mon does, I mean, if you played against me, you probably prepped for it, and you probably know a little bit what it does because of that. Or you've used it before or something. But, like, it's an Intimidate mon. And you can run Sand Rush. You could also run Scrappy in some scenarios if you really want to deal with the Ghost type, but that's easier next to T-Tar. But like it's just insane. Like having base 80 speed, like you just have to give it that, and then in Sand it outspeeds base 130s. That's insane. You just have to put 4 EVs in there, so you can do like a lot of the times. If I ran offensive Statland, I just ran something like this, like Adamant. Unless I was doing calcs and wanted like more bulk. Like you could run this and like give it Life Orb or AV. Probably do this if it's Life Orb. Something like that. And then give it Life Orb, and it's insane. Like base 110 attack is pretty high. And if you give it Life Orb, it's hitting like a truck. You can give it Giga Impact and do 150 base power max strikes with Life Orb. Dude, that's strong. And the main reason I wanted this mon, especially in draft, is because it flexes as a support and an offensive Pokemon, which I love those kind of Pokemon. I love them because I love versatility and flexibility over like anything. It gets a ton of coverage, obviously, and then it gets like super annoying support moves. Like this mon's support move pool is insane if you haven't looked at it. I mean, it gets Roar, it gets Thunder Wave, it gets Yawn, it gets After You, it gets Baby Doll Eyes, it gets Charm, it gets Howl, it gets like Rock Tomb, it gets Rain Dance, Sunny Day if you want to do crazy crap like that, it gets Snarl. Like that's insane. That's just insane. So next to T-Tar, it's just so good. I think it's so underutilized, to be honest. Like, I'm so surprised I don't see more T-Tar or Stalin because it's insane. I mean, they're both weak to fighting, so fighting's very good against that. But then again, when you have Articuno, like, fighting types don't want to deal with Articuno. It's annoying. So, I mean, Stalin's insane. I loved it. Obviously, in draft, it's such an obvious combo. Like, T-Tar Stalin, like, obviously my opponents are going to prep for it, but it's still so nice. Like, you know, are they going to prep for Dynamax, T-Tar, and Howl Stoutland? Well, maybe, but then what if I run Sash T-Tar next to Dynamax Stoutland? Like, that might require completely different flow charting again. So, I thought it was really good, and I really I didn't do this much, but I really wanted to. If you just run Choice Band Assurance T-Tar, depending on the speed of your opponent's team, you could run Choice Scarf or Choice Band, and you run Assurance, and then you Max Strike with Stoutland, like Life Orb Max Strike plus a Choice Band Assurance. That's gonna KO some Pokemon. So that was something I really wanted to do. I was really excited to do, and I didn't do it a whole lot, but I probably should have, to be honest, just to see what my opponents would do. But yeah, you get Crunch on Stoutland. You can get Fire. So Fire Fang was something that was interesting because I feel like my team had a lot of weather combos, and Setting the Sun could actually synergize with like Tangrowth, and I could do some stuff there that required some probably more intense flow charting and stuff like that to actually get to work. But yeah, Stoutland, insane. I like this mon is so good. Like, just those three, Tyranitar, Articuno, Stoutland, were so good. And I think it's underrated extremely, because even if you don't have a good Sand, even if Sand doesn't look good that week, fine, bring Intimidate Stoutland. Still really good. And then Baby Doll Eyes, you're like, throw out Intimidate, and then if your opponent switches out, fine, start Baby Doll Eyesing or Charming whoever they have. Like, who cares? It's so good. It's so good. And if you can run Life Orb T-Tar as well. Like, you could run Weakness Policy and then Surf with Stoutland, which is going to do no damage because you have pitiful special attack. You could do Weakness Policy stuff. You could also just do After You or Howl. So you could throw out T-Tar Stoutland. You could protect T-Tar Howl with Stoutland, and then next turn Dynamax it. Or you could just Dynamax the T-Tar right away and go After You, Life Orb, freaking Rockfall. It's insane. It's so insane. So, and this combo in general, even though it's straightforward, obviously, Sand Rush, blah, blah, blah. Like, either Pokemon could be a good max candidate and do different things. And there were lots of options. And then even if like let's say your opponent has Frisk, and they Frisk a Life Orb T-Tar and like I don't know, a Sash Stoutland or like a Citrus Berry Stoutland, and they're like, okay, the T-Tar is the max candidate here. And even if they know what's going on, you still have so many support options with Stoutland that there's nothing safe. Like, there's nothing completely safe that your opponent can do. Because, I mean, what if they target down the T-Tar and you just protect then yawn one of them? And then next turn you switch to Articuno and let them go to sleep. Like, it just messes up their whole team. What if I protect and then Howl? And then next turn I Dynamax a +1 T-Tar with like Life Orb and go for After You. That's horrifying. Horrifying. So I loved that. Sandslash was actually really, I didn't bring it until like weeks 8 or 9 or something, but it was really good. I think I won every set I used it in. I was afraid this Pokemon might stink, but it was actually really good. And basically, like, its stats are very good. Obviously, you probably know what Sandslash does, but what I liked is it had good coverage, and it was an alternative Sand mode. So what I don't like about some weather combos is if you want to use them, you have to bring specific Pokemon. And so your opponent can just prep for those Pokemon. And they say, okay, Sand might be a big deal for my team, but I could just prep specifically for that Sand combo and I'm good. Well, Stoutland and Sandslash do different things. So I wanted to utilize that. I wanted to make my team a little more diverse. Say, okay, if my opponent's just has insane fighting coverage, then I'll run Sandslash instead, which isn't weak like Stoutland is to fighting. And then maybe I can do some other, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's another Sand Rush user to give me more flexibility on the team. It's actually pretty good too. Like, I could do similar stuff to with like Stoutland and run like Choice Band T-Tar next to Sandslash, and then either go for like Max Strike, or I could go for, I think it's Shadow Claw. Yeah, it does get Shadow Claw. So I could go for Max Phantasm and then like a Choice Band T-Tar Assurance or a Choice Scarf T-Tar Assurance. Could do a lot of damage. Also, I just think Max Ground is like it's extremely good. I don't know. I had some other interesting stuff. Like you could do a Sash set and and run like counter, um, like Mud Shot or Rock Tomb. I actually almost ran Leftovers Amnesia Sandslash one week, which I think could have been decent, but we didn't try it. We didn't bust it out. I think it could have been decent. You could also hide this thing behind Tangrowth, go for Swords Dance, and then when Tangrowth dies, just throw in T-Tar and then Dynamax a Life Orb +2 Sandslash. Like, it's pretty strong, actually. So, it didn't end up doing that, though. But Sandslash, I think, was so good. And, like, I don't know, just having these four, I kind of think of my team in these little groups, and the first group is this 4 right here. Because it's the Sand mode, all physical attackers, and then the competitive Articuno, who can eat up grass hits and who can eat up fighting hits. But yeah, I thought it was decent. I thought actually Sandslash did some work, so I was excited because it was, a tier 5 or something. And I wanted to make use of my tier 5s. I think the good teams are ones that have high tiers that bring out the best in their low tiers. So, and I think this team definitely did that with Sandslash, in regards to Sandslash. Like with the Sand mode, I drafted these Pokemon early, like T-Tar, Articuno, Stoutland, I think were my first 3 picks, and I had Sandslash in the back of my mind for a later pick. So thinking about those 4, I thought, okay, this is really weak to water, because water types can, they could Dynamax, go for Geyser, change the weather, hit T-Tar really hard, Sandslash really hard, Stoutland they're not afraid of, and then they typically have ice coverage as well for Articuno. So I was like, okay, I really need to prioritize managing or containing water types. So I got Tangrowth because it's grass, handles water types. It also has redirection. I could do other weather stuff with it. Like something I could do. I had a lot of combos like this, but it just required a lot of flow charting. Like I could have Firefang. I could have like a Dynamax Stoutland set, like an AV or Life Orb Stoutland with Firefang, and then I could Dynamax it next to T-Tar and go for that assurance stuff. And then as soon as T-Tar went down, I could bring in Tangrowth, and then if I wanted to, I could go for Rage Powder, or I could go for a Max Flare with Stoutland, kind of trade that weather speed control over to Tangrowth, and then like start sleep powdering things. I don't know. I could do wonky shit like that. So, but it just required a lot of planning and the right scenario to do it. And but like Tangrowth was a great addition to this team because it was actually really good. Had really good synergy with T-Tar because it, like, the majority of fighting types are physical, and Tangrowth could just Rage Powder the physical moves, and it has insane defense. It also was a water and grass switch-in for T-Tar or Sandslash, which I really, really needed. It's also a ground switch-in, so it was actually a pretty good defensive switch-in for T-Tar. But, like, a Dynamax Tangrowth is actually pretty good, too. That's what I liked about it. Its coverage is so weird, though. I know a lot of you have used Tangrowth. Its coverage is weird. Like, the Stally sets can be really fun with Amnesia and stuff. And I had success doing that against Knight Rider, but Dynamax Tangrowth, I think, can be good, but it's weird because, like, if you want... Its coverage isn't insane. If you want ground coverage, you have to go physical. And if you want dark coverage, you have to go physical. But if you want... but then again, like if you want to go special, that gives you poison coverage. So like depending on what typings of coverages you had, you were sort of forced to run either physical or special, and that kind of makes it weird. I don't know. It doesn't have the best coverage, I guess, is what I'm saying. But it does have some cool supportive tools. Like it has Tickle, it has Amnesia, it has Amnesia's not supportive, I guess, but you could also run Grassy Glide and then Dynamax set Grassy Train and start Grassy Gliding things. I don't know. Rage Powder, obviously, good support. Leech Seed's annoying. Has Endeavor. Swords Dance. I never went for that. That's crazy crap. Sleep Powder, Power Swap. Leaf Storm plus Power Swap is a cool combo, I think. And like I drafted Turtonator, so something else I wanted to do was like just like I could go for Rage Powder or Shell Smash, and then if Tangrowth lived, I could just protect it. Dynamax the Turtonator, go for, or Dynamax Turtonator with the after the Shell Smash, go for a Max Flare, and then Tangrowth would get a speed boost as well, and I could start Sleep Powdering and start doing stuff like that. That could have been a cool combo. Then I didn't really utilize that though, but I thought it could have been cool. Like I said, this team has a lot of weather combos, and I don't know, I dig it. So Tangrowth was great. I got Jolteon because Jolteon was like it's just another Pokemon that could deal with water types. It also gave me a really fast Pokemon that I could use so that I didn't have to rely on Sand to have like a really fast Pokemon out on the field. And I didn't have to rely on Scarf. I could just use Jolteon. And Jolteon actually has there's just like so many little synergies I loved about this team. So its support move pool is actually pretty good. You can run Flame Orb with Quick Feet, and you can be like extremely fast. I could run Fake Tears next to Articuno, and that's terrifying because like Articuno can ally switch, and then Jolteon can absorb electric attacks with Volt Absorb, and then Jolteon could also dodge the ground attacks, and because Articuno is immune. So ally switching with those two on the field was annoying, or could have been potentially annoying for opponents. And then I could do things like Tailwind while Dynamaxing Jolteon, or I could go for like Fake Tears with Jolteon, Dynamax the Articuno, go for Airstream. So that's terrifying as well. I mean, it gets Yawn. Yawn is obviously so annoying. Gets Charm, so if I went up against heavy physicals, could do that. It actually has a good support move pool, which I liked, and it's really fast. Thunder Wave, I could have done Thunder Wave. But most of the time I just ran offensive and I really liked it next to Klefki because, I mean, they were both weak to ground, which kind of sucked, but I had my redirector is very not weak to ground, so that helped out. But Jolteon, I could run. If you run Thunderbolt, like a normal set to run is like this with like, I guess Detect and one other move. I guess Shadow Ball, maybe. I don't know. I could run this crap. But then I could do things with Klefki, like I could run like Rain Dance and Sunny Day and Klefki, and then all of a sudden this like a Life Orb Jolteon has access to Max Lightning, Max Flare, and Max Geyser, which could be really nice because Max Geyser can help deal with the ground types, and Max Flare can like help out Tangrowth, put it in the sun, do things like that, or weaken the water type damage against like T-Tar or something. I don't know, but that's a cool combo that I didn't really utilize as much as I would wanted to, but I thought like a set like this with like Thunderbolt and Weather Ball, like Max Flare, Max whatever, could be cool. And I could also use Max Rockfall like next to T-Tar. That's another thing I could have done. But yeah, like Jolteon was, I thought, insane on this team. I thought it was so good. And it was really nice with Tangrowth because like Tangrowth could redirect ground attacks while Jolteon could max lightning flying types, which are kind of a problem for that combo, or for Tangrowth at least. And then Jolteon could also run I could actually run Sunny Day, so I could have a set like this next to Tangrowth, and there's so much flexibility with that because I could go for Rage Powder and then like max lightning. Or I could just go for Sunny Day, max the Tangrowth, and do stuff like that. Like if they had a ground type out there, I'd say screw maxing Jolteon. I'll just go for Sunny Day, max the Tangrowth, blow it up. I like a lot of combos like that where you have supports that also flex as Dynamax candidates and vice versa. There's just like a lot of flexibility on this team, and I really liked it. But it took a lot of flow charting and a lot of prep, specific prep, to make it work. Like I couldn't use I feel like to maximize this team's potential, I had to have a very well-crafted team each week, and I couldn't bring like too many standard sets. I really had to have like a specific plan if I was going to do some of this stuff that I'm talking about, like Fake Tears and Sunny Day with Tangrowth and like I don't know, Shell Smash and things like that. It took a lot of planning and flow charting. But it was really nice having Klefki to enable a lot of these strategies. I love Prankster, and I thought Klefki was really good, honestly. It was really nice with Jolteon, but like I said, they're both weak to ground. And ground was something that was a little hard to deal with for my team, but like I said, I have Tangrowth for the redirection, and then I have Articuno, so it helped deal with it. But like Metal Sound is insane for my team because I could do Metal Sound next to Jolteon or Articuno, which are pretty fast and it could just blow things up. Could also do Sunny Day next to Tangrowth. And I really liked it because it was like a more defensive. It was a more defensive Prankstermon. Like it's not bulky. I wouldn't say it's bulky, but like if you run, I don't know, if you run bulk, it's not like it can take a hit. And then you don't have to freaking run Sash every week. You can run Shuka, Aka, Citrus, I don't know. Leftovers is actually pretty annoying. Leftovers, sub-leftovers, pretty nice. I really wanted to run like a leftover set with Iron Defense and Calm Mind. I don't think I ever did that. Switcheroo, obviously. Thunder Wave, good for speed control. Like in other drafts, I've never thought of Klefki as one of the better Prankstermons. I still don't think it's one of the better Prankstermons, but it was almost my preferred Prankstermon for this team. It was especially for like the tier value. I thought it was really good. So I don't know. I thought Klefki did a lot, and even in the Dynamax game against Snoot, like I think I just played that wrong, to be honest. I think the Dynamax Klefki was actually a good play against Snoot's team. With the Calm Mind, I think it actually was. I just didn't. It wasn't a perfect strategy in how I played it, but I thought it was actually really good. I don't know. Not much more to say about Klefki. It was just really nice having a Prankstermon that could control weather and Metal Sound. That's pretty much just those two things. Put on a lot of pressure. I could do screens, obviously. I probably should have utilized screens more, to be honest. I don't know why. I'm just not a player that usually sets screens. So, but I probably should have, because I guess I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video. My initial plan for this team was to create a team with a lot of defensive synergy, and a more bulky oriented team. And what it ended up being is a team that was much more powerful when I used it in a hyper offensive manner. So it took a little bit for me to adjust, and it was a different team than I planned on getting, but I still really liked it. And Klefki added to that hyper offense potential, and I really thought it was valuable in this team. What else here? So I got Golduck. So like I was talking about, these teams are in like sections, and I have the Sand mode with Articuno is like one section, and then the next four, which are Tangrowth, Jolteon, Klefki, Golduck, were like another section in my head. And the reason for that is they were just fast Pokemon that could really help. Like they all worked with each other and could all be used in any combination with each other, and they could utilize weather, and they could utilize different forms of speed control to be really annoying and hyper offensively annoying. So I could use Golduck. I thought was a really cool mon, and I actually really enjoyed using Golduck. I could run like a Scarf set with Soak next to either Tangrowth or Jolteon. So something I actually wanted to do, and it required a bit of flow charting, but if you run Tangrowth next to Jolteon, then you run Sunny Day Jolteon with Fake Tears, what you can actually do is a lot of different options. You can Rage Powder and max the Jolteon, and then once Tangrowth dies, you can throw in Golduck and then go for Scarf Soak and then just blow things up even further. Or I could Sunny Day, max the Tangrowth, go for max Overgrowth. If my opponent takes out the Jolteon, I still throw in the Golduck next to Tangrowth and the Sun, go for Scarf Soak. So like that could have been really, really good. And then I could run Jolteon next to Scarf Golduck, and I could actually run Rain Dance on Jolteon. And then that would give me options like I could max the Jolteon, go for Scarf, max Lightning, blow something up. Or I could go, like I could run this. I could run Fake Tears and then max the Golduck. Because if I'm scarfing Golduck to outspeed Jolteon, like if it's faster, then if I max the Golduck and lose the Scarf, I become slower. So then I have the option to max the Golduck, make it slower than Jolteon, go for Fake Tears, and then hit it with a Geyser. That was something. Or I could max the Golduck, Rain Dance with Jolteon, which would make Golduck then fast, and then blow something up. So it's like, I just love these type of combos where you throw two mons out and you have lots of options that can be useful depending on the situation. I love that type of prep, and I thought this team had the opportunity to do that well. And I could just run Rain next to Golduck. Like, Golduck is not the most insane mon, but if I run like Specs or Life Orb, like Muddy Water or Scald next to Rain Dance Klefki, that can do a lot of damage. So yeah, I thought Golduck was really cool. And if I was afraid of other weather, obviously I could run like, Cloud9 or whatever, but I never wanted to do that. So I actually had Sandrush, Chlorophyll, and Swift Swim all on this team. All I needed was like a Slush Rush, and I would have been the ultimate weather team. But yeah, I thought Golduck was really good. I never got to run any other sets with it. Like, I did run the flip turn with the Weakness Policy Sandslash, which I had been I thought of that combo before I even played my first match. Like, as I was drafting the team, I thought of that combo, and I was so glad I got to use it. Another Yawn Yawn is so annoying. I probably should have utilized Yawn more, but I don't know why I didn't. Maybe that's why I didn't make playoffs. Should have yawned. Nah. I guess I'll move on to the last section of Mons here and just talk about them. Dusknoir, I wanted because I wanted a Ghost type as a fighting switch in for T-Tar, which did prove to be useful. Frisk is insane, obviously. And I also like that Dusknoir. Like, I wanted to run Dynamax Dusknoir at one point during the season, but it never happened. Like, set Trick Room next to T-Tar, and then instead of Dynamaxing the T-Tar and going for like Bulldoze, just Dynamax the Dusknoir, go for Max Phantasm, and then T-Tar stuff next to that, and that just could do so much damage. So, like I said, again, the theme of this team was just flexibility. Like, a lot of I can max any Pokemon on this team. Maybe not Nuzleaf. I could max Machamp, Turtonator, Dusknoir, Golduck. I Dynamax Klefki, Jolteon, Tangrowth. Like, I could Dynamax any one of these Pokemon, but at the same time, they all had supportive stuff. T-Tar could run Sash and run. Well, T-Tar's not as supportive, but it could Snarl, it could Breaking Swipe. Articuno could be a support. Stoutland support. Sandslash could be support. Tangrowth, Jolteon support. Klefki support. Like, every single Pokemon had supportive tools as well as being a max candidate. And that's what I loved about this team. So everybody knows what Dusknoir does. It's bulky. It's a Ghost type. It was really good synergy with T-Tar because I could ally switch, and then, T-Tar could take the Ghost or Dark moves, and then Dusknoir could take the fighting moves. And like, it could be offensive. Like, if you gave it a weakness policy, I actually wanted to run weakness policy Dusknoir next to like Brutal Swing Turtonator one week, and I got too scared to do it, but I think that could have been good actually. Shadow Sneak could proc a weakness policy on Articuno. What else did I want to do? Oh, I really wanted to run Gravity. I forget why I wanted to run Gravity, like with Hypnosis Golduck or something. I don't know. That would have been silly, but I really wanted to run a Will-O-Wisp Calm Mind. This is what I wanted to run. Dude, this is the Dusknoir set I wanted to run. This is so bad. I want to run this with leftovers. This is so bad, but it's so beautiful at the same time. Like, just go max defense, max. I don't know. I mean, come on. This set could work. In the right scenario, this set could work. You know it could. But I didn't end up running it because it was too strong, and I felt bad running that because it just would have been too strong. Dusknoir was great though. It performed well. I've always wanted to use Dusknoir because, like, when I first started draft, I didn't think anything of it, but I kept seeing other people use it effectively. So I just gained interest in it, and I needed a Ghost type, so Dusknoir it is. Turtonator I got because I really needed a fire type primarily, and why did I need a fire type? I guess grass could still be really annoying for my team because that's probably why I got it. Doesn't hit Articuno well, but grass hits T-Tar, doesn't care about Stalin, hits Sandslash, ignores Rage Powder from you, takes lightning hits from Jolteon, doesn't care about, I guess, whatever, doesn't hit Klefki well, but who cares, hits Golduck. So I really wanted a fire type. And I really needed a Trick Room Pokemon that I could use that was a little slower than T-Tar, you know? T-Tar is not really, I mean, it's slow, but it's not insanely slow. So, I want to get Turtonator, thought it could do some stuff, and it actually was really good when I used it. I think it, yeah, it was really good when I Dynamaxed it. Because I could do like Bulldoze Weakness Policy with Turtonator instead of T-Tar. And, you know, and I could also Shell Smash next to Tangrowth, like I said. Could also run a Stally set. Like, it can't get crit, so that's really, really nice. And if you go like Iron Defense Body Press or Iron Defense Fire Spin with leftovers, it can actually be really annoying. So, I don't know. I like Turtonator. Turtonator was Turtonator and who else? I think Turtonator is the only Pokemon on this team that I had drafted before this. Yeah, I don't think I have experience using any of these other Pokemon. Golduck? No. Yeah, he's the only one I'd used previously. So, maybe Machamp, actually. No, I don't think I had Machamp. Yeah, Turtonator was great. It also has I like having a Wide Guard user, I think, can be really nice. So, I like that. And there's like another Will-O-Wisp user. Just mainly a Trick Room Pokemon, though. You know what it does. Like, that's kind of just what I wanted it for. And it did well. Machamp. The time I used Machamp was really good. Like, against Matt, it was really good. And I don't know. I just think, like, Machamp has a secret potential that hasn't been quite unlocked. Like, it has a good abilities. Stats are decent. I think maybe it's just speed tier just holds it back. I don't know. Or maybe that it's a fighting type in a max format. I have no idea. But No Guard Dynamic Punch is stupid. It's awesome. You could run Choice Scarf with that. I think the set I had most success with, though, yeah, it was against Matt when I just ran Sash and just put it next to Articuno. Articuno with Max Phantasm and Max Airstream. So good. That was another thing about Articuno that was really nice is like I could run Airstream next to something like Airstream next to T-Tar and then protect the T-Tar and then like Airstream and then the next turn I could go for Phantasm Rock Slide or something. So good. I love combos like that. But I guess like G-Max Machamp could be interesting, but I don't know. I haven't really thought of a way to make that really consistent and successful. So, but I don't know. I like Machamp, and I think it actually has some good support moves. Like, I love having a fighting mon that can go for coaching, which is pretty much every fighting mon. But I love having coaching. Dynamic Punch obviously good, but it gets like good coverage. Like if you max it. If you max it, which actually could be good because if you do Guts Flame Orb, you actually hit really hard because you have base 130 attack. So you could like there is a world where you set Trick Room with Dusknoir and then blow crap up with Machamp. Like it gets Helping Hand, right? Doesn't it get Helping Hand? It does get Helping Hand. So like you could set Trick Room and then Helping Hand with Dusknoir with a Guts boosted Machamp, and you're doing damage because you can run steel coverage. You can run obviously fighting, normal, ground, fire, ice, poison. I think you get psychic. No, you don't. You get rock. You get dark. You get electric. You get dragon. Hey, you get a lot of coverage. So I don't know. I think Machamp can be good in the right position, but or you could just run freaking Choice Band Close Combat and say screw everything else. No other moves, just close combat. Don't even run any other moves. Yeah, but it was another mon. I really just wanted to fill out a type chart and get a fighting type, get coaching, and then another Trick Room mon for the Dusknoir. So, and then Nuzleaf I had 5 points left, so I got a tier 7. I got Nuzleaf. Which actually is not a bad tier 7. It gets Fake Out. I never use this mon. No one cares about this mon. But I did want to use it. I really did. Like, I could go for Fake Out and then, like, Shell Smash the Turtonator, then the next turn go for Max Flare and do Chlorophyll stuff. There was potential for it. It just wasn't that great. The potential with the ceiling wasn't that high. I mean, Sucker Punch. I could Sucker Punch Articuno. I don't know. It actually has some cool moves. It's just, obviously, it's a Nuzleaf, so its stats are trash. But, whatever. It was my only Fake Out mon. That was a weakness of this team. Like, I didn't have Fake Out on any of these mons except Nuzleaf, and I didn't want to bring Nuzleaf. So I had to constantly flowchart without Fake Out in mind. Which, was okay, honestly. I kind of wanted to experiment with season without a fake out user, so it worked out nicely. But mainly just a lot of combos on this team, like a lot of combos that maybe weren't like OP and insane, but a lot of just good combos and a lot of flexibility. Like I said, I could Dynamax a ton of these Pokemon, any of these Pokemon really. I could max Flare for Chlorophyll stuff. I could Rain Dance with Jolteon or Klefki or Stalin or something and give Golduck a boost and do like Life Orb Golduck stuff. Like I said, I could Brutal Swing Weakness Policy Dusknoir. I could Coaching the Dusknoir with AV or something. That'd be insane. Um, you know, I think Klefki, Klefki can Dynamax if you get a couple Calm Minds off. It's good. Uh, I don't know. You could run like Specs and Choice Band on a lot of these Pokemon. I don't know. I really like this team. Wasn't perfect, obviously, but just the amount of offensive combos and offensive versatility it had, really, really good. So, and I prefer a team that does like a lot of different things as opposed to having just only one small core of Pokemon that are really good. So this is more my style, so I don't know. It's really good. I think weaknesses for the team were definitely not having Fake Out, and then just having a lot of frail Pokemon. Like Tangrowth is physically defensive, but special defense is absolutely awful. So Klefki, it's really not that strong. Like it's not that bulky. Like it's obviously a support, so you can just put all the EVs in the bulk and everything, but it can die pretty easily. Jolteon dies pretty easily, obviously. Golduck dies pretty easily. Sandslash can die pretty easily. It's got a good defense, but special defense is not good. It dies pretty easily. T-Tar dies to close combats. I don't know. Champ, really not that. It has some decent bulk, actually. Turtonator, special defense isn't super great. It's not that bad, though. But yeah, a lot of frail mons that I wanted to use. Like, I think Jolteon and Tangrowth were really useful on the team, but they're just really frail. And then, I guess as far as flowcharting goes, like, having weather combos are just sometimes easy to flowchart against because all you do is you just throw like a prankster mon against them with weather and then you can blow them up. Like it's hard to lead T-Tar Stalin into something like a Meowstic and like a Swift, like a Meowstic Kingdra or something, because they could just Rain Dance Max Geyser the T-Tar and bye bye, So hard to flowchart with that. I had to flowchart with that in mind a lot. A lot of the time I tried to bait the sand mode and then do other stuff. But sometimes the sand mode is really good. I don't know. Other weaknesses on the team. I don't know. I thought the team was strong. Maybe the team was a little more, like, maybe it could have been a little more top heavy, so that I didn't have to utilize strategies with, like, Golduck and Klefki and Turtonator and stuff. I don't know. What else? Yeah, really the big thing was just having no Fake Out. Oh, and then also having, like, my Tailwind setter was Articuno. So if I wanted to ever go with a Tailwind strat, I couldn't run all offensive Articuno, which was oftentimes the play. So, yeah, that's not that too big of a weakness, though. But yeah, it was my only Tailwind setter. And having Dusknoir as an alternative Trick Room setter was really good. I guess Dusknoir is really the primary Trick Room setter, and Articuno is the secondary. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what if this team had any like humongous weaknesses. It was really good, and a lot of the matches I just didn't like. I think this team had big potential, and I don't think I played it perfectly. And I think a lot of the scenarios I actually played this team pretty poorly, like genuinely poorly, because I either just made mistakes or I just didn't think through certain situations. But I think this team actually had a lot of potential, and I think it could have made a good playoff run, but just had to play it well. But I learned a lot from it. I think like with some intense flowcharting, you could create some really I think this team would have had. It has high potential, but it requires a lot of prep and flowcharting because you have to all the mons. Like they work best when they have like specific roles in every matchup. Like I said, Scarf Golduck with like Soak and stuff, and Soak and Icy Wind and things like that. That's a very specific role for that mon. And if I just toss it out there and it's not in the right position to really utilize its support, it's not going to do anything. So it becomes like a terrible mon. Then you're just going for like a random Scald, and then you're dying, and then who cares? So, but if you could flowchart really meticulously and diligently, like I said, go for stuff like Jolteon, Tangrowth, and then when one of them goes down, you just throw in the Golduck, go for Soaks and stuff like that, or flowcharting with like, I don't know, with Turtonator going for Shell Smash. Like I could go for Shell Smash and I don't know, like Rage Powder. And that was also nice because like Grass Mons really don't do much to Turtonator, so I don't care if they ignore the redirection. So I could go for Shell Smash, and then, you know, if Tangrowth goes down, then I could throw in Jolteon and then Fake Tears and then attack with Turtonator. You know, utilizing, like, being able to do a lot of stuff in scenarios, whether or not one of my Pokemon goes down or not, and then continue the offense, keep it rolling. Yeah, I think if I was able to do more of that stuff, this team could have been really good. And then I had like a couple pivot options like Flip Turn Golduck, Volt Switch Sandslash, or Volt Switch Jolteon. I guess U-turn Articuno if you're into that kind of stuff. And then I could U-turn into like T-Tar and then do something with Stalin or Sandslash or something. I kind of wanted to run like, this is so bad, like Cell Battery, Stalin, and then you Volt Switch it, give it a +1, and then go into T-Tar and attack. But that's bad. You can just run Life Orb Stalin. It's way better. I don't know. But like a lot of specific combos that, and like a lot of my Pokemon comboed with like multiple other Pokemon on my team, which I really liked. But I don't know. That's my ramble. That's pretty much my team. I thought it was really cool. I'm trying to think of any other combos that I really wanted to utilize. Probably some coaching stuff with Machamp, like coaching next to like a Leftovers Articuno with Calm Mind as well, and like Stored Power. I don't know, that could have been cool. Or coaching next to I don't know. Coaching, like I could coaching next to a Stoutland, and then if the Machamp goes down, I probably should have done that. If I run AV Stalin next to coach, like a Scarf coaching Machamp, I could have done some work. And then if they kill the Machamp, then I can just throw in T-Tar and have speed control. I don't know, stuff like that. It was cool. It was a cool team, but I don't know. I hope you guys thought this was somewhat interesting, or you got some insight into why I drafted the team. Like I said, I think it was a really good team. I think I just needed to play it better to have success in the PDPL, or to have better success in the PDPL. But I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, someone else drafts some of these Mons next season. I'm sure they will. I'm curious to see what they do with them, especially Mons like Sandslash, Jolteon, Golduck. I thought they had some really good niche uses, and I was excited to use them. But anyway, that's it. I'm gonna hop out, and I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully, with more draft content. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it wasn't too long, and that's it. I'm out of here.